Alright guys, welcome back to the Road to Wololo qualifiers for the Red Bull Legacy Tournament. We've got Zerton here in the red trunks on the Rus. It's up against HuT in the blue trunks on the Abbasid. So we're in the August week 1 qualifier, even though it was held in the last weekend of July. But it's the August qualifier, week 1 for all intents and purposes. The beauty of this map, there is fuckloads of safe-ish sheep here. Particularly for HuT, because he hasn't even got like an outer segment to the map there, so all the sheep have just spawned right here for him. Zerton much the same, a lot of safe sheep he's already able to rack up with his first scout. The only ones he's really missed here are these ones over here. Well, it looks like HuT might be able to grab them off him. HuT's actually going to find a lot of Zerton's sheep here, but he's already found plenty. There are plentiful on this map. Zerton getting a third scout as per the norm for Rus. The Abbasid player HuT at a house looking to join up the mill to the town centre. Zerton's going to have to bring one of his scouts back eventually. He is on his sheep eco already. Well, HuT actually basically automatically rallying while Zerton's only got the... oh no, he's got a fifth one at home there. Gonna have to move him strategically, save on walk time. Sorry to cast this from Zerton's perspective, but it's always interesting to see how much gold the Rus player is accruing early on with the bounty system. Zerton right now taking out one of these wolves. It looks like HuT is competing for some more wolves and for the deer, but he's going to get out because he wants to just bring the wolves home, because he knows Zerton's got a third scout out in the map, so realistically he can always pull two and always have one extra to try and take out the wolves. Now Zerton's actually finding one of HuT's hunts, so this is great for Zerton because he's going to start trickling a bit of gold out of that. HuT now finding it as well, so he'll probably stick around and try to compete for these ones. This scout's only got the one wolf in tow, and HuT now knows that Zerton's got scouts over the other side of the map, so he's unlikely to bother bringing them over here. So now he will do the dance and force Zerton to really stall to try and get the gold. Zerton lucky to get it there. Oh, now HuT going to get one off Zerton. So Zerton's close to that 250 gold mark, and he will want to kill two more sheep as quickly as he can to hit 250 here. He's actually going to try and steal the wolf off HuT, but HuT's still got it aggroed on his scout, so he's going to try and bring it back home. But he's quite a way away from the town centre. HuT might even have to bring this other scout just to try and get the wolf. It's down to 6 health, so Zerton... oh, not there. HuT, nice micro, able to pinch that off Zerton. Didn't even need to bring his second scout in the end. I think Zerton might have forgotten about this one sheep over here. It probably doesn't matter, he just needs to bring these guys back. He's killed all the rest, so he'll have all the gold out of that. Oh no, here we go, he's got 8 in tow there. And 4 stuck over here. Zerton's gone up to 4 scouts actually. HuT just on the 2. So the beauty of Rus is you can make this investment, not really slow down your H2 or your villager count, because you just produce it instead of taking wheelbarrow early on, and then take it now after you've gotten the 4th scout. It makes Zerton really able to bully HuT's gold line here. So Zerton going to bring his 4th scout over. You can look at always bringing back the lowest of whichever he has over here with the sheep. Do a bit of regeneration while he's got a refreshed and rearmed one ready to go in. Well, HuT trying to go for second town centre, so this is making it difficult to get the gold he wants for fresh foodstuffs. So HuT, it's actually 1 gold off it at the moment. But he's pulled all of his villagers -1, so still really efficient here. And Zerton's not likely to get a villager at all there. HuT picking off one of the sheep as well. Come on Zerton, kill 1 more of them and you get a 10% bloody food gather rate improvement. Actually, he's got another idea. I think he might be going for... Oh no, he's just going to throw it down here. Come on Zerton, kill 1 more. What the fuck are you doing, man? Bronze yellow stuff. No, just kidding. It's alright, I know him. He'll let me get away with that. Nice, just making sure he's not going to lose a scout here. A bit of harass off, just makes a knight or horseman follow up out of the stables a little bit stronger because HuT needs to be very aware of where his low villagers are because they can be killed a little bit quicker. Zerton trading food for gold there. And he'd actually, the reason why I sort of mentioned killing 1 more of the sheep is because he actually generates a little bit more gold for free. Not so much out of this one, but out of this one over here. And that's pretty inconsequential, that. But the big thing is a 5% increase to food gather rate. That's pretty sweet. You can get it. So, second town centre and barracks now for HuT. Or Zerton. It's looking to do a similar trick. Where if he can get 100 gold here, he can throw down a town centre as well. Because he can just convert that 100 gold into stone. And he's not really far behind the Abbasid player in terms of eco now. Because HuT will be starting to creep ahead in terms of vill count. And Zerton has realised he's now had to kill a sheep in order to get this gold benefit. He knows I'll mention that too. So Zerton, a knight, just doing a bit of a scout. And it's actually going to try and hit HuT, spank him on the backside. But it's not quite going to work because there's already spears in tow here. These guys, if stop commanded, can just skewer the knight. There's also a scout checking out the gold mine. I mean the stone mine, and Zerton can see that HuT's looking to play 3 town centre, considering his investment on the stone and the wood. The fact that he's really only got a small number of spearmen. So HuT trying to get a 3rd town centre over here on the lakes if he can, because it'll be insane food gathering for him. Zerton trying to actually play as aggressively as he can with this forward 2nd town centre. Gives him good control of the sacred site. Reduces the walk time for all of his units to try and interrupt HuT, but Zerton can see this, so is he going to go for it? He won't actually bother yet. I was going to say, start that early, you possibly could try and upset HuT there, pick up a couple of the villagers, but he's decided against it. HuT now adding a pair of stables behind this, so he'll start horseman production of his own. He'll be able to add in a camel rider and get some more spears. So Zerton adding spears of his own, and no doubt archers in order to cull the spear count of HuT's. HuT briefly leaving his woodline undefended, drops a villager for his troubles with Zerton's raid with the knights there. And Zerton seems to be well aware of what HuT's doing here, while HuT also had a good little scout of Zerton's base. And I think he's also knows about the proxy because he's lost scout over here. Is reveal map actually working properly? No, I don't think it is. It still doesn't actually show you what buildings they've seen, which is a bit of a pain in the ass because that sort of told me nothing about what HuT knows about Zerton. I really didn't get any information about what he knows about Zerton's proxy there. So if there's one complaint I could make about Observer in AoE 4, it's probably that. And the fact that replays just tend to fucking go missing. But Horseman versus Knight, this is a rough trade for HuT. Even though he gets the one Knight, the Horsemen are worth half as much as them. So Zerton able to get 2 Horsemen and a Spear for that. It's sort of just worth it for Zerton there. But HuT, 3 Town Center Eco. His Vil counter will be booming, so Zerton's on 44. But HuT already up to 52. He's built a bit of a Vil lead over Zerton here. And if you can turtle up successfully, just try and wall in the deeper recesses of his eco, I think he'll be fine here. Try and take a solid fight against a aggressive Rus player. Rus is just one of those civs like French where it's very hard for them to actually not have early map control. They tend to really dictate the course of the early play, and you've just got to try and play as defensively and as greedily behind the defense as you can. Focus is on not dying first, getting ahead second, and then winning the game third. Especially if you smoke as much as I do, guys. Jesus Christ. Really massing up this Spear Horseman army now, and he's going to add 4 Rangers now, so he really wants to switch things up and add in some of his own archers because he knows Zerton will be probably playing on mixed comp as well. You know, it was actually HuT that remarked that 3 facility production was pretty shit in the old meta. I remember when I first sort of started and I really played around 2 facility at the time, you know, to pretty good success actually. So thank you for that tip then, man. But now we're actually seeing him play a really heavy transition into a balanced 3-unit type army here for Age 2. But, I mean, things have changed in terms of balance. This is a handy raid for HuT because he can... Oh, I think he nearly picked off one of the Vils there. Wait, did he not get a... He does get one of the Vils. And Zerton gets some of HuT's Vils in response. Zerton's starting to ram push. Because HuT has pulled all the horsemen, he can really quickly engage and harass the ram with a handful of them. But he is locking up some of Zerton's knights while they chase this. So let's try and push into Tower Town Center. Not easy because there's all that extra garrison space to put Vils to focus the ram down with or repair the town center. Zerton a bit of a push here. He has a few less spears and no cavalry with him, but he has a much bigger bow count than HuT, though that is quickly going to change to the fact that HuT's gone up to so many ranges. Zerton, I think, has only got the 3 to HuT's 4. But Zerton now going to have to make sure he can stop this horseman ball from preventing his wood gathering. And I mean, knights versus horsemen is a very good trade for Zerton, so HuT's got to keep running and just preventing eco, forcing Zerton to have to over garrison and over pull back off resources, but he's not taking the bait, he's just following the horsemen. Meanwhile, HuT is going to try and defend his own doorstep. Zerton's aggression, Zerton pull the rams to the back. Now he's able to just focus on the spear count of his opponents. And both opponents are going to be doing a good job of that here. Zerton focusing that Camel Archer as well, because it means if he does manage to add his cavalry into this army once again. You can really reap the benefit of extra damage. Not to mention these guys basically do hit twice as hard as a regular archer, so it's handy to bring them down, even though they are more than twice as tanky. Oh no, exactly twice as tanky as well. Now Zerton giving himself some forward towers, so he's got as much of a nice fallback point as HuT does here. It really restricts HuT in the sense that he's got to start moving out along the map towards that market and trying to get a hold of the stone and the food and the wood, the gold over there. So it really helps deny the water. HuT have to find a way to take out these rams. Nice spread of Zerton's army here. Doesn't want to drop anything he doesn't need to under the town centre. HuT. The right time to bring up his spears, so he's going to pick off one of the knights, get the other really low. Now Zerton doesn't have a lot in the way of spears, and his archer count's not that much greater than HuT's, but the town centre is nearly finished off. Zerton losing the last of his rams, so HuT defending really well here. Zerton banking up a bit of excess wood, and he's probably going to need to get a bit more food at the moment. And for now, HuT has really held himself out on the map. Zerton slipping a little bit in terms of total pop to his opponent at the moment. So HuT 79 and 56, Zerton 79 and 38. So Zerton's economy is actually the same size as HuT's at the moment. HuT repairing a town centre, and Zerton has finally turned the arts account back in his favour, so HuT has to start retreating again. The knights aren't going to last much longer for Zerton. HuT's not going to lose these camel archers for bowmen, because the bowmen are worth a third of the cost of them. So even with 3 town centres, the opposite player not really any further ahead. The Rus player in terms of eco, it's 83 to 82 bills at the moment in favour of Zerton.
сделано.
87 to 85. HuT's starting to get a bit of a Vil lead again, and he's going to start harassing with horsemen, buying himself some space, forcing Zerton to have to lock up some knights on chasing them. Zerton got other ideas, already looking to mount ram pressure again. Trying to take out these villagers, putting up that forward forward town centre, and he's going to get up forward tower, and he's going to get all of them, but at what cost here? Because gives Zerton a really nice engagement on his army there. And now the rams on the town centre once again. HuT raiding Zerton in the meanwhile. That town centre can fit nearly everything. Between that and the tower, that's a lot of damage for those horsemen to stay in. Oh, HuT gonna lose that forward town centre of his, so he's back to 2 TC. Doesn't really have that advantage over the Rus player anymore. Zerton 87 and 52. HuT 88 and 42. The horseman raid now been mopped up, it seems, or has it come home? Looks like Zerton in the driver's seat because he's taking out that town centre off HuT, and it's 92, 55, 90 and 63. Now HuT not really able to grow his Vil count over Zerton anymore. Both players stuck in the, let's say, Commerce Age, but the Feudal Age for the moment. Too much AoE 3. HuT still has a few more horsemen, but Zerton's got plenty of knights. Both our players. Great micro. HuT now going to bleed all of his spearmen in an attempt to try and get the knights, but now the knight's going to be able to take a great engagement. There's only a few camel archers in the mix. Still a few more knights here for Zerton. He's got another ram as well. It's the battle of the bowman balls, but it looks like fighting under town centre. Zerton going to have to back off slightly now that HuT has that defensive fire for him. It's a lot of gathering to be denied here by Zerton, and he is going to be able to start focusing on that House of Wisdom. Zerton adding another ram now because he can start taking out other structures like the blacksmith and the houses here. Ram taking fairly minimal damage. All the units garrisoned. It's only 6 Vils, but even still, HuT's eco isn't really screaming ahead at the moment. It's 100 Vils and 53 military for Zerton to 94 and 58 for HuT. So he started to creep ahead in terms of military count. He's even getting some rams of his own to try and break the tower hold. Even use up some of Zerton's charges here from the knights. It's an expensive buffer to have, the rams. There's not a huge number of spears here for HuT either, so he really needs to rely on Zerton not using the knights all that great against the archers. They're being parked in the ways that did make it a bit hard for the knights to get through though, but I think it might be a bit too much for HuT to defend against here. Looks like Zerton will be able to tear down the House of Wisdom, and with that, that's both tier 1 and 2 here for Golden Age, so 15% gather rate and research speed gone for HuT for the moment, and he can't go to his Castle Age until he gets that building fully repaired. This pressure from Zerton's been phenomenal in this game 3. So locked up 1-1. Looks like Zerton might be the one to go through the next round here, but HuT has an impressive archer count here. Upgrades. Both our players have all their ranged damage upgrades and all their armor upgrades, so HuT having to try and micro against the knight. And while he's doing so, Zerton's able to pick off villagers and archers. Another knight coming in here. And Spears should be able to clean this one up. That's great for HuT, but in the meanwhile, he's lost another town centre. He's starting to lose more in the way of structures. Houses falling for him as well. His Vil count's down to 86. Zerton up to 113. Zerton streaming a lot of units across the map. He doesn't have as many here in the fight, but HuT having to pull all of his villagers to try and take out the rams, and GG. HuT has to tap out. Zerton's through to the next round.